First name, last name, and what are you doing here?
My name is Pedro Alonso Lopez, and I am known as the monster of the Andes, and no one will ever forget me. I am the man of the century, and it has always been my mission, my sole purpose in life, to rob you of your peace and introduce you to the most gruesome stories you have ever heard. But my story is a little different, you see, because my stories are true. I will tell you about my life. I will give you guys a bird's eye view of what I had to go through as a young man. So sit back, relax, and let's get started.
Let's go back to the beginning. Tell me, Mr. Lopez, how was your upbringing?
My mother's name was Beninda Lopez de Castellana. She was a prostitute. But before you go judging her, understand this. My father died before I was born, and my mother had no other chance to survive with 13 kids, me being the youngest. At times, she allowed these bastards to come into our house and have their way with her for money. Me, as the youngest, I was forced to watch, and I recall just sitting there, staring at my mother as we both locked our eyes together and we just made eye contact. She never screamed, she never moaned. She just lay there, staring at me. She never blinked. We just stare at each other, witnessing these acts of prostitution by my mother while growing up had disturbing effects on me. Without knowing, I started to think that this was normal. And I started taking advantage of my sisters. But one day, in 1957, my mother caught me molesting my sister. I was just 8 years old at the time, and I will never forget how my mother kicked me out of the house like a dog. I was a kid. I remember having dreams, being extremely polite. I even wanted to be a teacher at one point. A couple months later, I found myself in Bogota, Colombia, where I was abducted by a man and raped multiple times, almost daily. He called himself a father figure to me. But let me tell you, no father will do such things to his son. At the age of 12, again, I found myself in the streets. A U.S. immigrant family found me, and they enrolled me in a school for orphans. I ran away 2 years later. See, there was a teacher there that again was molesting me. But I was so fucked up in the head that I fell in love with him, and we both ran away together.
Sorry to hear that, Mr. Lopez. Tell me, what was the first time you found yourself in prison?
I was 15 years old, and I had just been sent to prison for stealing a car. I remember sitting in my cell thinking, is this it? Is this all that I'm meant to be? Well, later that night, I went to go take a shower when 4 guys approached me and I was gang raped. I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to kill them. And that is the first time I thought about killing someone. I killed each and every one of them slowly, and I enjoyed it. I had an ice picket, and I remember putting it through the back of the head at one of them, and it was extremely satisfying. By far, one of the biggest rush I've ever had in my life. This gave me a sense of power, a sense of control, a feeling of love. After being released from prison, I moved to Peru, and I could not control the urge to kill young girls. It became second nature. It was needed in my life. You see, it was like oxygen, food, or even water. By 1978, I found my passion, the only thing that I was good at, and that was killing. I had killed already over 100 young girls, and I enjoy it. Each and every one of them from satisfaction, a feeling unexplainable, a rush like no other. But unfortunately, I got caught. I got caught and I was going to be executed. But luck was on my side. A missionary from the U.S. intervened and persuaded them to hand me over to the state police. However, the state police let me go. They didn't believe that such an innocent-looking young man had committed such horrific crimes. Again, as I stated, luck was on my side. Soon after, I returned to Colombia and killed 17 other girls. Later, I moved to Ecuador, and during this period, I was killing 3 young girls a week. You see, I like the girls in Ecuador. They are more gentle and trusting, more innocent, and their blood is warmer, and I loved it.
Mr. Lopez, did you ever feel sorry for any of your victims? And what was the method you took?
Sorry. Do you think my mother felt sorry for me when she kicked me out at the tender age of 8 years old, like a dog? Or maybe the guy that molested me over 100 times, almost daily, felt sorry for me. Or in prison, when those 4 delinquents, which I enjoyed killing each and every one of those bastards, do you think they felt sorry for me? Sympathy is something that I have never known. I had enjoyed and will always enjoy the way a victim looks at you when you are taking their life, the way they plead for you to let them go, the way they stare at you. If you ask me, we lock eyes the same way me and my mother did when she was getting raped. We stare at each other. I love to look at them when I am strangling them, as they beg for me to let them go. Sorry, you said. No, there was none of that. There was just hatred. There was just pain. Somebody had to pay for this shithole of a life that I've had to endure. So I made sure someone else did.
I am sorry to hear that, Mr. Lopez. The truth is, sometimes life is not fair. Has not been fair to you, to me, and to a lot of other people in this world. But Mr. Lopez, you cannot go around hurting people just because life is not fair to you. So, Mr. Lopez, let's go back, Mr. Lopez, to 1980. What happened?
March 12th, 1980. I was walking and I saw a young girl. She must have been 12 years old. We stared at each other. We locked eyes. And I remember thinking she will be my next victim. But unfortunately, I failed. I tried my damnedest to kidnap her. But unfortunately, it did not go as planned. The Ecuadorian government arrested me that day. But again, luck was on my side. I said the truth. I told them that I had killed 200 young girls, or possibly 350. I did not know. Killing again and again and again and again, until the point that you lose track of how many bodies you burned, buried, threw down the river, or simply just left on the side of the road. But again, luck was on my side. In 1998, I was released for good behavior. This was the last time I promised myself that I was going to get caught alive and head back to jail. That was the only thing that I feared, was getting gang rape again, like it happened when I was a young man. I did not stop my killings. I don't know how. I kept on killing again and again and again and again, to the point that I have lost track of how many young girls I've killed. And that is my story. And that is who I am. And that is who I will always be. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to say my truth. And as I stated, I am the man of the century. And no one will ever forget me. And if you do, there will be another one like me. But my wish is that he or she will cause more hell on earth